Dear friends in Jesus Christ, today we are in the fourth Sunday of season of Lent year A. Last week we reflected on water. This week we reflect on light. Last week Jesus said, I am the living water. This week he says, I am the light of the world. The Gospel, the ninth chapter of St. John, tells that Jesus healed the man born blind, and the religious leaders questions this man as well as his parents. The gospel mentions of one blind man, but when we reflect on the passage, we begin to see that there are many blind persons in the passage. The first group of blinds is the apostles. They are blind because they asked Jesus, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? The apostles reacted to this situation with a typical worldview of their time. In their minds, suffering is always a punishment for something. So they asked Jesus whose sin this man is suffering for, his own or that of his parents. Jesus' response proves that not all hardships are our fault. While it is true that our own choices have the greatest impact on our lives, it is also true that bad things can happen to those who have done nothing to deserve those particular struggles and sufferings. The apostles should have asked Jesus, how can we help this blind man? When we come across many injustices, poverty, exploitation, and suppression, we just say they are poor because they are lazy and they deserve it. The second group of blinds is his parents, the parents of the blind man, the relatives and his neighbors. Even though they witnessed that it was Jesus who cured the blind man, but they refused to say it. It is because of their fear of being expelled from the synagogue by the Pharisees. They are afraid to say that this man was cured by Jesus himself, whom this blind man considered as the prophet. They are like those Catholics who don't have backbones. Their personal interests, cowardice, and fear blind them. The third group of blinds is the Pharisees. They refused to acknowledge that Jesus had performed the miracle and gave sight to this blind man. They could not see the truth because of their prejudices and biases against Jesus. Instead, they called Jesus as a sinner because he violated the law of the Sabbath. Pharisees were blind to the truth. The fourth blind is the blind man himself, who was cured by Jesus because of his faith and trust in him. Though he was blind physically, he could see with his heart. The other three could see with their eyes, but not with their hearts because fear, prejudices, biases, and their own selfish interests blinded them. The first three groups had spiritual blindness. Apostles were open to the teachings of Jesus and changed their life, thus, they also received the spiritual sight eventually. We are also spiritually blind many times. Lenten season is a season of light. Yes, dear friends in Jesus Christ, this season of Lent is a season of light, that one can cure his blindness through this season. Let us recognize our spiritual blindness and bring to the Lord, and may our prayer be, Lord, I want to see. Lord, I want to see. May God bless you all. Amen.